Hi, I'm Diane Hendricks and welcome to Fresh to Frozen and Back. This show is going to make your life easier. In each episode, I'll teach you how to prepare delicious, better for you fresh meals, how to freeze them properly, and then bring them back to the table at a later date. This show is Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. I'm going to share 3 of my favorite, simple, and delicious chicken recipes. First up, ginger soy sesame chicken. And here's all you do. Okay, first thing I do is I'll take gloves, disposable gloves, because I don't like to handle chicken. And you guys will know that by now. I have a box of gloves in my, right in my drawer in my kitchen. I have 2 different types. I have these, very, very disposable ones for when I'm doing something real quick. And then I have ones that are a little bit firmer if I'm gonna be working for a while. So I'm using chicken breasts that have been trimmed clean of all the visible fat. And these are beautiful, organic chicken breasts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them into cubes. So I just want them in little, almost like not bite-sized, maybe a little bigger than bite-sized pieces. So I'm just gonna cut them. And all 3 of the dishes that I'm making today are chicken pieces like this. So you can leave them whole if you'd like, but this I just think makes a really nice, simple dish. So these beautiful chicken breasts, I'm gonna slice them up. And then let's do this second one. And that's all we're doing here. And what I'm gonna do with this while I have the gloves on, and if you notice I'm using a plastic cutting board on top of a wooden cutting board. You shouldn't cut raw chicken on a wooden cutting board because all of the, the harmful bacteria and everything can get inside of the wood. All right, so I have a zip top bag that I'm going to fill with cornstarch. Now, 2 of these dishes I'm gonna kind of bread with this cornstarch and one of them I'm not. You don't have to use this at all. This is just if you want a little bit of a crispier coating on the outside. We're not gonna use all of it. It's just gonna kind of touch the outside. There's gonna be plenty of cornstarch left. So that's all we do. So I'm gonna take the top, I'm gonna zip it, and I'm gonna kind of try to just get all of these pieces coated. Okay, and then I'm gonna set that aside and I'm gonna move this and then wash this separately because this has that raw chicken on it. Okay, so let's make a sauce. Turn the heat up. It's already starting to heat. Okay, a little bit of sesame oil. Oh, this isn't even open yet. Some toasted sesame oil. You don't need a lot, just a teaspoon because it has such a strong flavor. Soy sauce. You can use low sodium soy sauce if you like. Little pinch of crushed red pepper. Some brown sugar, not a ton, just a little bit. Combination of chopped garlic and ginger. Okay, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. And what else do we have? Some rice wine vinegar. Let me set that off to the side. And a little bit of honey. And we're gonna whisk that together. All these flavors are so good. This is gonna be your new go-to chicken dish and sauce. And this sauce freezes great. It's like a teriyaki-ish kind of sauce. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch to 2 tablespoons of water. And then I'm gonna whisk that together. Get it nice and smooth because you don't want any lumps in here. Then I'm gonna add that to this sauce. And that's gonna start to thicken. And just keep your eye on it, because as it thickens, if it seems like it's getting too thick, then just add a little bit more water. So we're done with all of that. And that's just gonna cook right now. It'll be perfect by the time we're ready for it. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a skillet, heat it up with a little bit of sesame oil, just a hit. The sauce is getting really thick, so I'm gonna add more water to it. I might even need a little bit more. If you need to thin out this sauce, don't use anything but extra water. There we go. That's perfect. So that's just gonna simmer, and that sauce is ready because it's gonna cook while the chicken is cooking. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we've got this sesame oil heating up, and sesame oil has a high smoke point, so that's a good thing. And all we're gonna do is brown this chicken. So I'm gonna put another one of these gloves back on. I don't want like cornstarch and chicken all over. So I'm just gonna kind of feel this and shake off the extra with my hands in the bag, opening up my fingers so that all of the extra flour or cornstarch, whatever you're using, falls to the bottom. Okay, this is perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna flip it. Let me get this out of the way. And we're just gonna flip it over. You don't have to use your spatula, but if you, oh my gosh, you can almost hear it. There's like a crispy coating to the outside of this, which really is like, this is like a healthier version of the sesame chicken that you would get at a Chinese restaurant or something. So it's got a nice crispy outer coating. And we're not cooking this right now, we're just browning it. And then once I flip it over, then I'm just gonna shake the pan. I just wanna make sure that I get them all flipped over. And that little bit of extra cornstarch is gonna help thicken it up as well. Okay, so that's fine because I just want the crispiness on one side. Now this is a big baking dish, but the one thing about this is I don't want it to steam on top of each other. I wanna maintain that little crispness. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this right in this baking dish. If you have a baking dish at home that's a little bit smaller, it would be a little bit better, but this is fine. At least they're not piled on top of each other, so it's not going to steam, it's going to, cook and keep that crispiness. Now, we've got this sauce. It's so simple and so delicious. I'm telling you, this is gonna be your go-to dish. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some sesame seeds in it, whisk it up, and then just pour this sauce all over the chicken. Ooh, it smells so good. Then we're gonna just shake the pan. And then just add some sesame seeds to the top. Pop it in the oven, 375, 20 minutes, and it'll be done. And you can serve that with rice or over noodles. There's so many things you can do with it. When we come back, I'm gonna show you my lemon pepper chicken. You're gonna love it. Okay, lemon pepper chicken. This recipe is so simple and so delicious. You can do the same thing, like I said before, you can do the same thing that we did with the ginger soy chicken. You can put it in with flour or cornstarch if you want like a crispy coating. But for me, this is just simple, in the oven, done, and it's great over pasta or even on its own or on a salad. You're gonna love it. So here's all you do. So I'm gonna take a lemon. You're gonna wash the whole outside of the lemon because we're gonna use the lemon in rings, and we're gonna put this at the bottom of the baking dish. Oh, look, I got one with no pits. That's a winner chicken dinner right there. So what you're gonna do, oh no, there's one. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick out all the pits. I think I saw one. I think there's one here. If you miss any, no big deal, but they tend to be bitter. So if you can try to get them all, that's great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them on the bottom of this baking dish. And at the end, you can eat these lemons. They are so delicious. So I should be able to get two more. Let me get two out of here. And what I'll do is, actually I should have showed you that at first. I like to zest my lemons before I use them for anything. And then I put all the lemon zest in a little container, like one of these little guys, and then I'll put it in the freezer. So anytime I need lemon zest or lime zest or orange zest, I have it right in the freezer, boom, goes right in whatever I'm making. So if you think about it, zest your lemon first and save the zest. And these I put in the garbage disposal in my sink. So if you put the ends of your lemons in the, even squeezed lemons in the garbage disposal, it cleans up your blades and it makes your kitchen smell really nice. Okay, so I need two more slices here. Oh, this is a pity one. It's a pretty one. Okay. And you know what, these are good too. Like if you're making like chicken or a turkey, I always cut a lemon in half and stick it in the cavity, and it gives it a lot of nice flavor with the celery and the carrots and all that. Okay, on top of that, I'm gonna put some onions because I love onions, which you guys know already, those of you who watch. And So I'm gonna slice up these onions, and I'm just gonna slice it. It doesn't matter how you slice it, in little pieces, but I kind of like it in longer pieces because as it cooks, you get like these little longer strands. So I'm just gonna really just slice these in like, you know, just little half moon slices. And then I'm just gonna set these, separate them, and just right in the bottom, right on top of the lemons. It's really, really good. You're gonna love it. Onions are loaded with vitamin C, so they're actually very good for you. I'm actually gonna do both of these because I'm gonna bring this over to my friend's house for dinner tonight. And then we'll just cut this up. And then I'll just go down here. I try not to waste. And remember the bag that I talk about in my episodes, I'll save all these ends and put them in that bag in my freezer that has the stems of my herbs and the ends of my carrots. And then when it's all full, then I'll make my own vegetable stock by adding water and spices. Okay, so that is all the chopping other than the chicken that we have to do. Well, not really, because we have to cut some parsley. I'm gonna wait on the chicken. So let's make the, quote, sauce. It's more of a topping or marinade. So I'm using fresh parsley. You can use as much as you like. I like a lot of it. And then I'm gonna put that in this bowl over here. I'm gonna save these in the bag for my stock. Thyme leaves. You're just gonna go straight down the center of the thyme leaf and you know, keep the stems because those I love thyme. It's one of my favorite herbs and it grows really easily. So you just kind of run down the stem of the thyme and it doesn't take much time. Get it? Thyme. Okay. So I know it's corny, whatever. All right, so here we go. So we got plenty of thyme. I've got some dried basil. You can use fresh, but I think the dried basil really, because it's so concentrated, has such a nice flavor in here. A little bit of salt and some black pepper. And then we need some lemon juice. All right, so we're gonna put a nice hefty amount of lemon juice, like 2 tablespoons of lemon juice and a little bit of olive oil. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of stir that up a little bit. And it's as simple as that. It's not like really like a sauce because it's not really liquidy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add some white wine after it cooks for about 20 minutes. So right now I'm gonna cut up the chicken and then this is gonna go on the top. So what I wanna do is I'm using a plastic cutting board like I did with the last one with the chicken and my disposable gloves because it's just gross and I don't like touching it. So, but these are beautiful organic chicken breasts, but I don't want it on my hands. And then anytime you cut chicken on a cutting board, a plastic cutting board, whatever, you want to wash that immediately. Sudsy, soapy water and get all of the potential harmful bacteria out. Okay, so I've got parsley on my knife, but it doesn't matter because that's in the dish. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with the other. So, like I said, you can pound these out and do this whole if you want. You can sear it first if you want. But to get a quick meal on the table, I just do it this way and it's very simple. Okay. And then, there we go. So now we have these little cubes of chicken that I'm gonna put right on top of these onions. So I'm just gonna put these right on top. Let me get rid of this cutting board and these gloves. One glove, because I'm gonna mush this around a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of spread this around and get rid of this. And again, soapy, sudsy water. And now we're just gonna take this mixture that we made and just kind of pour it all on top of the chicken. And the lemons that are on the bottom are actually gonna just give off some more of that lemon juice and then we're gonna toss it all at the end. It's so good. And then we're just gonna stick this in the oven for 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, I'm gonna take some white wine and then pour it in there and that's gonna give it some more liquid and some more flavor. The key with wine in the kitchen is if you're not gonna drink it, don't put it in your food. So let me stick this in the oven and when we come back, I'm going to make a quick Marsala chicken. See you in a minute. Okay, last but definitely not least in this winter chicken dinner, quick Marsala chicken. You're gonna love it. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually using a healthier version of condensed cream of mushroom soup. You can make it yourself, but this is just very easy and very simple and it's something different. So I have that condensed and we're not adding anything to it except Marsala wine. And it is just so good. So you're gonna whisk that together and get it nice and smooth. So using that Marsala wine in with this condensed cream of chicken soup is really, really good. You can also use cream of celery, cream of chicken, whatever you like. I'm gonna have the rest of that. I love the rich flavor of Marsala. So we're just gonna set that aside. Okay, now we're gonna cut up some onions and cut up some mushrooms. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice the mushrooms, and you can use as many as you want or as whatever kind that you like. And I have little creminese here, but you could also use wild mushrooms, button mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, shiitakes, anything that you like. I'm a huge fan of mushrooms. They got selenium and B vitamins and very good for you. It's super, super low in calories and extremely versatile. So let's see, how many do we want to do? And I'll just brush them first, but I use the stem. I use every piece of them. Okay. I like a lot of them, so you're just gonna have to bear with me while I slice all these mushrooms, or most of them. Super simple, nice thin. You can quarter them if you want. If you want them like you could actually do something like this too. You could actually just quarter them and have chunky, like chunkies, like big chunks. So, but I'm just gonna slice them. And that'll do it. Now let's do some onions. So I'm gonna take another onion, and I'm using a sweet Vidalia onion because I love them. Plus, they don't make you cry as much as the other ones, and I'm a crier with onions. I don't care what anybody says. Close your mouth, goggles, freeze it doesn't matter. I still cry with them, but I love them, and they're good for you. All right, so we've got some onion here. I'm gonna take one more layer off because it's a little tough. And then I'll just chop these up. You can always add more. That's the beauty of this. If you want more onions, add them. If you don't like them, don't use them, whatever you like. So I'm gonna cut it in half and then in half again, and then just slice these. And do the same thing here, in half, and then just slice down them. You can even tip it this way, make it easier to cut. And now we're all prepped with what we need to do. I think, yes. Oh, we have thyme again. We're gonna add more thyme, and that could just go anywhere. We can always add some at the end as well. I love it. Let's see, just run down it, save your stems. Lots of thyme. This is German thyme. There's also lemon thyme, which is really good. And in the summer, I harvest all of my herbs for the winter, and I freeze all of them. Oh, let me get those, get that sesame chicken out of the oven. Let's see. Let's get that out. It should be done. It is done. I know it's done. Ooh, it's right next to the lemon chicken. It looks so good. Look at this, it's bubbling, smoking hot. Oh, it's so yummy. So good. And then let's put that on a plate so you can see it. So we're gonna take this out. I'm gonna just plate it for you. Oh, it smells so good. And that sauce, if you have any of this sauce left over, or when you're making this, just make extra sauce, because this sauce is so good with everything. It's good just stirred in rice. Shrimp, you can put the sauce on shrimp. I'm not gonna plate all of it, just enough so you can see it. Oh my gosh, it's so yummy. And you got that little crispness too. Look at that. Now we're gonna cut up a couple of green onions, because I love green onions with like soy, ginger, and all that. It's so nice. Okay, so we've got that. We're gonna add just a little more sesame seeds for garnish, and then we'll chop up a little green onion. And here we've got like a little bit of green onion on top. So good. That's dish number one, and it freezes great. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so let's get the stove on. Slide this over. Okay. So we're gonna heat up a little bit of olive oil. So we're gonna heat up some olive oil, and we are going to cut this chicken. Again, we have the plastic cutting board, and we'll just cube this. I should have cubed all this at the beginning. I mean, you don't need to see me do it 3 times, but it's okay. All right, so we're gonna cube this again, or you know what, for this one, maybe I'm not gonna pound it. I'll just cube them. So we'll cube these up. I'm done chopping the fresh vegetables, so we're good, and I'm on the plastic cutting board, so we're good. And then again, we'll wash this in nice, sudsy, soapy water. I've got that oil heated, and we are going to add these pieces. If you put a towel, a wet towel or a wet paper towel underneath your cutting board, it'll keep it from sliding on your surface. Just a little tip. And then we're gonna add this to the oil. Lost one in there, but it's all getting cooked. And what we're gonna do is just get a little brownness on here. We're gonna get a little browning going on. Again, we're gonna move this raw chicken, the plate and the knife over here and wash that in sudsy, soapy water. All right, so we've got this browning. Now, if you ever have a pan that happens to be like lopsided on one side or another, you can just tip it up. And then we're just gonna kind of let that brown. We'll flip it around a little bit so it gets oil everywhere, and then we're gonna let it rest and not bother it and let it brown. So I'm gonna let that brown for a minute, and when we come back, we're gonna finish this off, and we'll talk about how to freeze everything. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I have to put some wine into this lemon chicken. This is looking nice. It's looking really good. We're gonna pour, oh, it's bubbling at the bottom, and we're just gonna add this wine to it, which is gonna give it such a nice flavor. Now, we're gonna crank this up a little bit, and we're gonna add our onions and our mushrooms. Oh, smells so good. So we're gonna stir this all around for a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna add that combination of the Marsala. Oh, I got a full stem, which is never gonna hurt anybody. Love it. Here's another one. It's good. Okay. Thyme just has such a wonderful flavor. So I'm gonna crank this up high and let that cook a little bit. And this is a chicken breast, and it's on top of the stove, and it's cut in teeny tiny little pieces. So this is gonna be done before you even know it. Okay, so now we've got some sizzling going, and what we're gonna do is add this mixture that we made. Scrape it all out. Then we're just gonna stir this all together, and it's just gonna simmer and cook for about 10 minutes, and then it should be done. As soon as the onions are soft, you've got yourself a quick Marsala chicken. Let that cook up a little bit. You can see all the bubbling in here. It's all bubbly and it's nice and thick. It's gonna be so good. And then you're gonna get some water coming off of those mushrooms and off of those onions. That's gonna thin it out a little bit, so it's naturally on its own gonna come to the perfect consistency. Okay, so I'm gonna let this cook. It's gonna cook another 10 minutes. We've got another 15 minutes on that chicken, so I'm gonna step away, and when I come back, it'll all be done. I'll plate it up, and then we'll talk about how to freeze it. Okay, so I'm gonna take that lemon chicken out of the oven. Ooh, it's bubbling. The onions look, oh, nice and cooked and soft, and this is such a delicious dish. Okay, so let's just plate this. This is nice and creamy and yummy, so I'm gonna put this in a bowl. Let's turn this off. Oh yeah, chicken's cooked. Look at this. We've got all these delicious mushrooms with the Marsala. Oh boy, that looks so good. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of the sauce and put it on the top. Obviously, we're gonna clean around the edge of this plate. And then I'm gonna take a little of the sauce here. Just drizzle it on top. I got rid of all my herbs, but you can put a little sprinkle of thyme or parsley or rosemary on there. There's your Marsala chicken. So good. And here's the lemon chicken, which is just, you can see the lemons on the bottom. So if you want, you can scoop it from the bottom and make sure you get some lemons on that plate, because these lemons are cooked and soft and delicious. You can actually obviously eat them. And then we've got all these fresh herbs and all these delicious onions. So we're gonna set this on top, just like that. This is a delicious lemon chicken. Super simple, winner chicken dinner. lemon chicken, Marsala chicken, and ginger soy chicken, all of them whipped up, can be on the table within 30 minutes. They all freeze beautifully. Just put them in a freezer safe container, date it, put the lid on it, and everything freezes great. And if you like, you can even drain this sauce out here, and you can freeze that sauce as well. And anytime you want like a wine lemon sauce, just label it, and then you just cook yourself some chicken or whatever and just drizzle that sauce right on top. Please tune in again to Fresh to Frozen and Back. Follow me on social media at Diane Hendricks. Check out my website, dianehendricks.com, and I will see you next time. See you later.